Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today we're going to be doing a series on the MiSTer FPGA DE10 Nano project. More specifically, in this instance, the work in progress Sharp X68000 core. Because I would say of all the cores that we talk about on the channel that aren't finished yet, the Sharp X68000 is the one that gets people the most curious. Mostly because everyone would love to own an X68000 PC, but unless you have multiple thousands of dollars to blow on something that'll probably annoy you a little bit anyway, not many people actually own them. But the good thing is, some days ago, this actually got updated, and some games that weren't playable or had graphical corruption are now going to work. Now, some games that had graphical corruption are going to have less of it, but it will still be there. But honestly, it's just always nice to see the X68000 core get updates, even if they kind of come very sporadically. It's one of those things, you might not see any updates to the core for 6 months, but somebody will go in, fix a few bugs, run another export of the core, and upload it onto the MiSTer FPGA Discord server. And before you ask, no, it's not an update. All this is manual install only. But taking a look at Salamander here, at least through the first stage, this was a game that had issues in the past cores that now is working much better. I'm sure this isn't perfect, but I'm not as familiar with Salamander as I am with some of Konami's other shmups, so if you see any issues in here, do leave me a comment down below and tell me what you see. There is a little bit of weirdness in the sprites to the top of the screen, but that could be on real X68000 hardware as well. This is definitely not an easy game in any way, shape, or form, though, so getting far enough into the game to see if it gets corrupt in stage 4, 5, or 6 would definitely take a very long time. But honestly, this is definitely much improved from the last time I took a look at it, because I think the last time I tested this, it either didn't boot whatsoever or it had such bad graphical corruption that you couldn't see anything at all. And that's the nice thing about getting a new core. People know what games didn't work on previous cores, especially when they're as good as Salamander, one of the best shmups on the X68000 in my opinion, so people jump in really quickly and find out what's good. And now that we have that new Neon X68000 game pack, everything will be set up if you want to test as well. And if you didn't watch that video, I will try and remember to leave a link down below, but it is my kryptonite on the channel, remembering to leave links, because I do the voiceover one day and upload it the other day, and I basically forget what I said. But you will see here, as this background kind of fades away and you see the boss, I believe that's how it should appear on real hardware as well. But if you have any idea, leave me a comment down below, because again, I played a lot of Salamander, just not too much of it on the X68000. But at least for the first stage, you can play the game, it looks good, and that's all that matters. Now, keeping with the shmup theme, we're going to move over to Hellhound, another awesome game, and probably one that not many people actually know about on the X68000. I feel like this one's definitely going to be a little bit of a deeper cut. It's going to explain pretty much how this core works, when it works, and when it doesn't work. Because off the top here, in the first area of the game, you'd really be hard-pressed to see anything wrong with it whatsoever. You have that star field and that parallax scrolling in the background, you have the foreground layer, all of your different information for your score, your energy, and all of the different upgrades you have, and everything's going to look perfectly fine. But when we get to the end of this capture, you will see exactly how it falls apart, and that's just probably because there's an effect or some other call to the hardware that's either not put together yet in the FPGA core, or just isn't finished up. But I do love these Moai heads, half rock, half machine, coming out of the ground. Hellhound has a very big vibe going on, and it is one of those games that is 100% worth playing. Unfortunately, while it is improved on MiSTer FPGA, it's not improved enough to the point yet where you're actually going to be able to finish the game, although I guess technically you probably could if you just brute forced it, but I would be very impressed if anyone was actually able to take care of that situation. But you'll see here, you have these fish coming out, or at least they look like fish to me. Definitely some Darius vibes going on here, and you have all of those different totems coming out as well. It is a very fun game, and I can't wait to actually be able to play this 100% on the MiSTer core for the X68000. And before you ask down below when this core is supposed to be done, I have absolutely no idea whatsoever. Maybe next month, maybe next year, maybe it'll never get finished. Honestly, we just don't really know, so we kind of wait for more updates to come, because it's not like anyone's actively developing this as their sole project. Different people go in, kind of poke at it, fix a few things, build a new core for everyone to test, and kind of move on. And Hellhound looks great until it doesn't, because you'll see here these Moai heads and the starfield look fine, but further on in the level, suddenly the entire layer is going to get completely corrupted, and you're not really going to be able to play anymore. But sticking with the shmup theme, because there are improved shmups on this core, Starfighter is another one that had issues before and now seems to be relatively buttoned up, but it also has some decent music in it as well as the sound effects. So it's going to be your first soundtrack sample, so go ahead and listen for 45 seconds, tell me what you think of the audio, and I'll be right back with 2 more games. mean, maybe not the most impressive audio you're going to get out of an X68000, but it does sound good here. And I know you guys had asked in the comments, I mentioned that I might make some games that you should definitely play on the X68000 core that just work videos. So I will have one of those either this week or next week, depending on the schedule, because there are a ton of fun games out there. And now with the Neon X68000 pack, you'll have a much better understanding of what works and what doesn't. But I have set up some videos just to kind of talk about the games that I think you should play, not only from a fun standpoint, but from just a technical capability standpoint of them running well on the core. If you want to recommend any games for me to test on the X68000 core that you haven't seen in a while, leave me a comment down below, because I'm always looking into just having a little bit more fun with this core. Because for all of the different diverse amazing cores we have on MiSTer FPGA, this is 100% the one core I want to see finished outside of the 3DO core from SRG 320, and we don't really even have a test core for that yet. It's just one of those things I want to see it happen on MiSTer, because it is one of my favorite consoles of all time, even if it's not great. But let's move on to another game that's seen improvements in the most recent X68000 core. Even if it isn't a shmup, this game should be instantaneously recognizable to basically everyone. This is Marble Madness. It's one of those games you're either incredible at it or you're absolute garbage at it. There really doesn't seem to be any middle ground in actually playing Marble Madness. It is a completely unique type of game where all you're doing is rolling this marble to the goal, but it seems so easy and then becomes incredibly difficult as you get to later levels. And this is definitely not anything that's testing the limits of something like the X68000 hardware. There's so many more games on the X68000 that are going to be way more visually impressive, but this is a game that just didn't have perfect graphics last time we took a look at it, and we have tested this on the channel, and now it is a game where I really can't see anything wrong with it. From those baked in shadows on the isometric viewpoint to where the light's coming from to all of the different sprites that you're basically trying to avoid to your marble and everything else animating in the game world, this honestly looks exactly like I think it should look, and it is another title that is improved. It's one of those things pretty much everyone's probably played at least Marble Madness once would be my guess. Maybe it's your favorite game of all time, maybe you just played it for 5 minutes and decided it wasn't for you, but it is another game on the core right now that's just improved a ton. Well, leave me a comment down below and you tell me, Marble Madness fan or just kind of annoyed by the game. I absolutely love the game in its concept, but I will say I'm pretty garbage at it when I play it, and big thanks to Andy D for helping with some of the captures this week as well. But Marble Madness is going to be your other soundtrack sample because it seems to have perfect audio. 35 seconds, I'll be right back with one more game to show. The music and sound effects of Marble Madness has always been a bit of their own vibe, and I actually love that. I might not be good at the game, that marble just may have been eaten by acid, but it's one of those things. The game sounds great on the X68000 core, it controls well, and it just seems to look graphically exactly as you would expect. So it's another game that definitely got a promotion as of previous cores. Now let's move over to a game that has seen some improvements but wouldn't really be playable in my opinion. This is Barusa. It has a longer title, and I'm terrible at pronunciation, so we're just going to leave it there, but it is one of the more fun games on the X68000, and Zanesoft definitely made some great titles back in the day. You'll see it here, at least from the title screen, it looks like everything's going to be fine. Once you actually get into the game, the sprites are going to be corrupted. But here's the thing, last time we tested this game, I don't even think there were sprites. I think you were basically invisible, as were all of the enemies, so trying to make any forward momentum would be impossible. Now obviously there's alignment issues here on where the sprites are supposed to be, so the game is still going to be incredibly difficult to play and probably not worth actually playing at this point in time, unless you just want to see some fun glitches. But it is a marked improvement over the last time we took a look at it, because again, I think at least the enemies last time were completely invisible, so it's exciting to see an improvement, even if that improvement is still corrupted, because it's one of those things. The X68000 core can be very tricky not to use but just to understand. You can load up some games, especially from the Neon X68000 pack, that say they just work, and you have absolutely no idea that this core wasn't finished. Other games won't load whatsoever, and other games are going to have severe graphical corruption, and it's all just down to what the hardware is doing in any particular game, because you have to remember, not every game uses 100% of the hardware in the exact same way, and no games probably use 100% of the different hardware functions that the Sharp X68000 even utilizes. So that's why some games you just play them and you think to yourself, how is this core not completed? And other games you play and you realize, wow, it's not ready for prime time. And that's not a strike against the core whatsoever. I've loved the improvements, even if they are corrupted. It is just a little bit of an example of how the development process works. But hopefully soon we'll have more updates on the Sharp X68000. If If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. When we're done, I'll see you guys next time. We're going to try to win the game without being able to see half what's going on. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.